Okay, so we're still in the pre-surgical phase, right? But as with most things, the thing that we like to highlight is as much as we can preload these both habits, exercises, and different factors to preload what your capacity is, what your overall health, what your penile fitness is prior to surgery is going to set you up for better outcomes on the back end. So we understand that most men that we've come in contact with don't actively practice masturbating at this stage in their life. Some do, some don't. But the majority of the guys that we've talked to don't. And whenever we're talking about that promotion of blood flow to the area, getting aroused and basically maintaining an erection is a very healthy thing to do, even if it's not like you're gonna have sex with your partner at the time, right? We've surveyed most men, and at this point in your life, masturbation is less, as well as in most cases, sex is slightly less than what it used to be with your partner. We understand that. We're not saying that you need to start masturbating on a daily basis. We're also not saying that you need to masturbate with the intent of ejaculating or orgasming. We're just saying doing things on a more regular basis is going to be a very promotional thing to getting blood flow to those structures. So how do we suggest that? So with most things, like with your endurance Kegels, we're gonna objectively measure how frequently this is happening, and then we're gonna start at a point, right? So if you're sexually active on a once a week basis, we would say masturbate, where it's a process of getting aroused. That could be with visual stimuli, that could be with reading, that could be with your partner, it could be by yourself, just fantasizing. But you want to be doing things if you're already sexually active on a once a week basis, let's say once or twice a week, masturbation wise. The other thing there is going back to our practice versus game time scenario is if you're more comfortable and you know what your capacity is going to be following surgery when you attempt to masturbate or use the penis pump, you're going to know where you're at as far as percent erection, right? So as far as getting back to having an erection that's strong enough for penetrative sex, you need to be rocking about 80% stiffness, right? And following surgery, sometimes you feel like nothing's there unless you're on the Viagra or the Cialis. And then we typically suggest taking the Viagra or the Cialis and then using the penis pump or whatever other apparatus for arousal purposes to build and to see how much percent stiffness you can get with how much help before getting into a sexual scenario with your partner where frustration can occur, right? So this leads us into the conversation of setting expectations. Usually your libido is not going to be there several weeks to maybe a month or two following the surgery. So talking about that with your partner so they don't get frustrated if they want more sex and you're not able to perform is a very important part of communication and things surrounding not necessarily the physiological side of the surgery, but the practical life side of the surgery. So communication is very important in that regard. It's why we've made so many videos as far as explaining to you what our expectations and what our timeline is. So we suggest either going through some of these videos with your partner or relaying the information with your partner as far as what we've educated you on. But as far as any kind of blood flow, any kind of masturbation, any kind of Viagra, Cialis, penis pump, whatever. As well as exercise, general exercise. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the fitness component of this video series. But any kind of blood flow to the pelvic floor, to the pelvic bowl, to the pelvic floor musculature is going to be a positive and should be more regular than not, both prior to surgery. So if you want to have more sex, get after it pre-surgically, and then both after surgery, in the sense of we want to do as much as you can comfortably, as soon as you can comfortably.